Hey, my name is Dean Lamb, and I play in the technical death metal band Archbar from Vancouver, BC, Canada. And today I'm with a guy that I've known for so long. He's a guitar player that I look up to because he's significantly taller than I am. And he's just great. He's the main driving force in the band, The Zenith Passage, which is a technical death metal band of which I am a huge admirer. Please welcome Justin Mckinney. Hi, Justin.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
It's going great. I love how that clapping is now, it's actually baked into the video.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
So I literally couldn't even get rid of it if I wanted to. Maybe I could somehow, like, frame by frame, like, paint it out.
I mean, why would you want to do that?
It's so much louder than you're talking. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm fucking stoked that we got everything to work. It's great.
Yeah, we did spend about 4 days troubleshooting.
Yeah, and here we are.
I'd say conservatively 4 days. Yeah, so I love the way that you play. There's so much cool stuff that you do in the band Zenith Passage, stuff that you've done. I was just going through a bunch of videos of you doing like solos and stuff like that. There's something about your playing that I really like, and it's got like this, this is the most complimentary of you I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah,
right now,
you're being really weird right now. It's kind of freaking me out.
I'm just gonna jump into the questions. How about this?
Okay.
All right. You play with a trembar, right?
Trombone, yes.
Trombone.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, you play with a trombone.
Yeah.
How long have you been playing with a trem? And is it like necessary for you to play guitar with a trembar, or is it kind of like a bonus thing? Is it like made its way into your playing where you just couldn't play without it?
Yeah, it's like muscle memory. Like if I play a guitar without a trem, like I'll reach down anyway, and it's like not there. It's like a phantom limb. But yeah, it's like definitely like muscle memory at this point.
So it's muscle memory in terms of like it being there, but in terms of like composition and like expression on the guitar, is it something that you need?
Yeah, I think for like lead playing, 100%. For lead playing, it's like a part of me, like
really,
it's part of my voice. So, but for like riffing, not so much. Besides, like I don't know, like dive bombs and like stuff like that, just like a little nuance.
So when you're doing like kind of like soloing and expression stuff, is it the style of vibrato that it gives you? Is it just? I mean, it's like I know that you can do a little bit of stuff with a little like push pull kind of classical stuff. It's not very easy to get down pitching on guitar without a trembar. This is really the only way you can do it is that or
yeah, exactly.
Those are the only two real ways. So the down pitching, like I find it adds like an organic kind of feel to lead solos and leads and stuff like that. So is it like what about it do you like? What about that kind of warbly kind of sound do you like really enjoy?
Because if I hit a bad note, I can just use that, and I can get out of my error easily. Right. But no, it's just I think it there's more movement. I think there's a lot more movement in the lead playing. I think it's more similar to like a human voice in a sense, to where you're not kind of just stuck in like 12 pitches,
right?
Because you have the option of going anywhere you want now. So you know, like the way you enter a note's fun too. So it's like I feel like it's more similar to like a human voice. So I guess that's probably like my concern when I'm writing a lead. It's like how do I like make this sound as human as possible in a way.
Where did you hear like what when you say sound like a human voice? Is that something that you learned about? Is this something you kind of had a realization about? Like where'd you get that?
I don't know. It's just kind of just listening to players that I like Alan Holdsworth is like very emotive with his whammy and just like his finger for like phrasing and the way he vibratos. And then, yeah, just like, I feel like the human voice is probably the purest form of like emotive communication, like through music, you know? So it's like being stuck in 12, pitches is kind of gets like, okay, what more can we do to make this more ethereal? And like, Scott Carstairs is like the way his approach to like whammy has definitely like helped me like understand it a lot better too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's so good with it.
Yeah,
He's
like
frustratingly good at guitar.
He's like the master of like the whammy technique. I think in terms of whammy players, he's like the best.
But I noticed that even without a whammy, though, like I was watching some videos, I don't remember specifically which ones, but your vibrato sounds very like distinct. Like it's got like what I love Pierre Nilsson a lot, and his vibrato is very keyboard modulation wheel style. Like it's there's something about it that's very like, I don't know, it's precise. It's like very rhythmic and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I feel about yours as well. It's got like this almost like digital kind of feel to it. Like there's something about it that's very calculated. Do you have like favorite guitar players in terms of vibrato that you try to model yours after, or what?
Yeah, Per Nilsson's a huge one.
Yeah,
especially like the newer stuff. Was it like Singularity? Like his playing, it literally sounds like a synth.
It's so cool.
And it's obviously his finger tone and his like vibrato, but I think it's also like that true temperament has a lot to do with it too. The way it just sounds like perfectly in pitch every time.
Right.
But to some degree, I think it plays in that. But yeah, like Per Nilsson is a huge one. Even just like like Marty Friedman, how he has like this detached like vibrato. Like, you know, it's like kind of like he'll hit the note and then he'll just kind of ease his way into it. And it's almost like microtonal in a way. And just the way he hangs out in the vibrato, it's like very wide, very dramatic. And I kind of like get some influence from that too.
Yeah.
Chris, our other guitar player, Justin's guitar player, he's also into Friedman a lot, and he gets some vibrato influence from that guy.
Yeah, I love that sort of keyboard-esque kind of feel, like a synth kind of sound on guitar. It's kind of what I'm always kind of going for, and you can do it with like if you do a tapping thing. I'm gonna butcher something real quick, but like I want every note to have the same. I want it to all sound very,
yeah,
you know, very accurate, especially on the descend, because I feel like a lot of guitar players, they'll focus on the ascending, you know, and that sounds great. I love that stuff. Very hard with the right hand, and this kind of is the same kind of vibe where you have modulation wheel or pitch modulation wheel or whatever on a keyboard, that same kind of digital sound, this kind of thing where you're doing hard tapping or whatever it is, and very like accurate. I just love that. But the descending is the thing that a lot of people just kind of they don't focus on as much.
Yeah, the pull off, especially because when you pull off, you're kind of bending the string too a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of takes away from the note. So if you're like trying to stay in pitch, you know, it kind of takes away when you're trying to, you know, descend on a pull off.
How did you like study that kind of stuff? Like when you were younger, were you, because like when I was playing guitar when I was, you know, in my teenage years or whatever, I always thought I was better than I was. Actually, I thought I was like, man, I'm fucking sick. And it's like, turns out I actually wasn't, until I realized how good somebody could really get. And, but at that time I was like, if I need to be able to pick every single note, because if I can play something and pick every single note, then I can choose not to pick notes rather than playing something and not being able to pick every note. But I'm like, oh, well, that's just how I play it. It's like, no. I got to be able to do all the pick notes. Is that kind of similar to what you did?
Yeah, my thing was like, I couldn't pick every note really fast, and I still kind of struggle with it because I haven't really put too much emphasis in it. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't know, like I would like every note to be heard as loud as possible, but for some reason I've just kind of just preferred legato over like picking in most applications, because picking is like more percussive, and I think there's a call for it when needed. And I've been like slowly discovering how alternate picking is really necessary for some moments in soloing, but like legato is like a huge thing just because of like Alan Holdsworth. For me, it's like that guy, his legato is just unmatched. And same with like Rick Graham. Like Rick Graham's legato is just fucked up. Like it everything just sounds so fluid. It sounds like, you know, he doesn't even pick the note for one. Like it's insane. His action is like high as a suspension bridge too. So like, you know, that's probably why he does that. But like, but yeah, like there's some, I think it just sounds more flowy, you know, like it's not to say that picking every string isn't cool, but it just sounds a little more like, I don't know, it has more finesse in a way, you know. It kind of sounds like water in a way. It's like, whereas like picking is like
when I first found out about John Petrucci, it was like you take the ultimate every single note is picked thing that Paul Gilbert did, mixed with the legato smoothness of Steve Vai, and you get John Petrucci, who played things insanely fast, but also mixed both of those together. And it's not just saying that he was taking inspiration from either one of those guys. It's just in terms of like how I found them. First it was Paul Gilbert, then it was Steve Vai, then it was John Petrucci for me, and it was like, oh, this guy is kind of like the best of both of those dudes put together. Which, I mean, I'm a huge Paul Gilbert fan. And it actually turns out that when I was watching him when I was younger, I actually thought he was picking absolutely every single note. And it turns out he was also doing a bunch of legato in some of those things, but he just has such strong fingers that he can slam his fingers on those frets and it sounds sharp, like a picked note. Like it is bizarre how strong and percussive his left hand was, or is. And or at least in the videos I used to watch of him. I mean, he really is he's my favorite when it comes to, maybe not my favorite like 80s shredder, but he's definitely my most influential 80s shredder.
Yeah, Paul Gilbert too. He's got like very like identifiable right hand technique. Just because didn't he say he started everything with like upstrokes, and he just would pick everything on his upstroke, and then his whole like idea was like you're only as strong as your upstroke.
Well, I know that he had like an exercise that he did that was like just upstroke kind of practicing. And I would say that's pretty singular. I don't think anybody has ever, like, I've never seen anybody else do that for sure.
I remember as a kid seeing that, and I'm like, maybe I should focus more on my upstroke.
I think maybe that's the secret. That you mentioned that actually sounds familiar. Maybe that's the reason why I was always kind of more of an outside picker. Like when I would do, I'll see if I can try to play it a little bit faster, but I'll do an upstroke on the G string. If I was to play that now, I would probably legato and hybrid because who cares?
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I would start on a downstroke and then do an upstroke there rather than up down up down. It really is just I just developed my upstrokes, my outside picking more. I don't know why.
Maybe it was Paul Gilbert, and I think like once you like figure out like just how it feels to upstroke a lot and like get from one note to the other, I feel like it kind of opens up like a lot of different like kind of just technique in general and just understanding how to navigate the fretboard and strings a little more. Wouldn't you say like on an upstroke, just like understanding how to end and like accent on an upstroke? Yeah,
there's like some sweeps that I wouldn't be able to do. Like you take a standard kind of five string. If I start that with an upstroke, it allows me to get that really sharp.
That first line, third, yeah.
Really sharp. And then also like doubling high notes. I'll double the high and the low note. Because nobody can hear it anyway, and it sounds more precise. And maybe that's kind of where that came from, is like watching Paul Gilbert's old stuff, and he talked a lot about upstrokes now that I'm thinking about it. And yeah, maybe that's where it came from. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
So when you did that double tap on, or like not a double tap, but you're picking the same note twice so you can start the descend on an upstroke, right? Like you're okay.
Well,
so you're like kind of like.
I'll do it slow.
Oh yeah.
With the right notes, hopefully.
No, it was all bad. But yeah, I see what you're doing. You're trying to compensate. You're adding that extra pick so you can start your upward pick slant, so you can get back up the strings. Yeah,
it definitely helps you with the upward pick slant on the way down. It also helps you chunk together the notes, so I can do. So it really gives like it bookends the start and the end of it. So I can chunk together the up and the down, and they both have really nice final sort of. They both have finality. It's like I start an upstroke, up, down, 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 and then end on an upstroke, and then start on a downstroke. So, and then I can chunk those two together into a big chunk that's then just the entire arpeggio ascending and descending. So like,
Yeah, so it's like more percussive.
yeah, definitely more percussive and like doing a lot of muting. You can watch my right hand. I mean, I know that you're fucking really good at this kind of stuff, but watching my right hand, I'm muting the strings as I go up and down, right?
Yeah.
So you're palm muting. You're following along basically.
Yeah, my strength has always been in my like how I sweep upwards.
Sweet.
I don't know.
What was that?
I don't know. It's just I've been like really good just at sweeping upwards, but never like downstroking for some reason. So I always like kind of fumble over myself.
What are the shapes that you're doing?
That was just like I think a minor.
Are you just doing the same shape, descending and up, ascending?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, it sounded like you were changing something on.
I mean, I switched to.
That sounds cool.
Just switching the like modulating a little bit.
Oh yeah. When you say
like,
modulating, what do you mean? Are you thinking about like how are you thinking about modulating and what's going through your brain?
Oh, because I guess if you what is this? What is this like a? What voicing is that? Of that? Because now you're switching from like a major third. It's like just like modulating just like a minor second down. But you're kind of using like the same tone. So it's like a different, how would you say it? It's a different voicing of the same chord. So it's like, shit, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay, so it's the same chord, but you're voicing it differently.
But you're just voicing it differently.
You're putting the 7 in the bass the second time.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
My mind's slipping. What's the name of that again? When you voice it on the third is now the root.
Inversions?
Inversion, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's like a different version. So this is what, like a second inversion? Or and now you're just modulating to the root.
That sounds really cool. Is that like part of a riff or something?
No, this is something I just fuck around with.
Oh, it's really cool sounding. I think a lot of that stuff where you're just like fucking around with stuff, it like turns into really cool. Like, I just play this, whatever. I've been playing it for 5 years, whatever. You're like, wait, no, that sounds really cool. Why have I not turned that into something?
Yeah.
You know? That's cool.
Like it's like a nervous habit that you do or something. You pick up a guitar and it's like the first thing you play or something.
Are you really nervous?
I'm very nervous right now. I have to talk to you.
So were you like when you were younger? Were you working on sweeps like Jason Becker kind of stuff, or did you kind of do like did you go a different path? Like how did you get into shred guitar, and like who was kind of your main influence?
I think like Paul Gilbert's kind of Paul Gilbert and Jason Becker kind of and Yngwie like kind of showed me like this is like there's more to it than just riffing and stuff. And I was always afraid of speed, like lead playing. So it was like I tried to take the Miles Davis approach, just try to play cool.
Right.
Still haven't achieved that.
No, I noticed. Yeah.
But Yngwie Malmsteen, I think that guy is like right hand technique and just his sweeping in general is just unmatched. Like still to this day.
I think what Yngwie has done is taken the ultimate combination of being extremely good at your instrument and also marketing yourself in a very amazing and unique way. He's taken something that works really well in the past, like what Liszt did or what Paganini did, and he took that and made it modern, and then also was amazing at guitar. And it's like it's hard to. He's not technically the best guitar player you can hear. I think that he's got plenty of stuff in his playing where it's like he relies only on his strengths and that's it. But his strengths are so sick and it's one color, but it's like the most neon color that you can imagine.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's fucking rad. Like
plus it's like just watching his videos of his right hand, it's kind of like helped me understand a lot about like growing up about like, like pick slant and everything.
So you got into pick slanting early then?
Not like too early, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what to call it at the time. And then I just noticed like how his playing was. And I'm like, oh, well, if you can like navigate the string like that, maybe I should try to do it how Yngwie does it. And maybe I'll like glide across the string a little bit quicker and maybe not get caught up and trip over my own string or something because he just kind of just glides through everything.
Yeah. So if anybody's watching, they don't know what pick slanting is. Pick slanting is basically you take most of the time you're doing downward pick slanting, which means the end of your pick, not the tip, but the end of it is facing down towards the floor. And it allows you to have an exit strategy when you do an upstroke, but you're stuck in between the strings when you do a downstroke. And it's kind of like most of the time we're playing guitar, we're generally doing, especially riffing, we're doing downward pick slanting. But then when we do upward pick slanting, it's so that we can get our exit strategy as an downstroke. When we do a down, then we're free to move about the strings. I mean, it really is the most difficult thing about playing guitar technique-wise for the right hand is just string changes. I mean, it's been pretty common with any lessons that I've done in this series. Everybody said, yeah, guitar would be pretty easy if it was on one string. It's like, yeah, it would be a lot easier for sure. You wouldn't be able to get the dynamic, or not the dynamic range, but you wouldn't be able to get the range of notes, but you would definitely be able to get the speed. Your right hand would be flying. You could do whatever the hell you want. But the string changes, that's where things get a little tricky and they get very mathematical, you know, and you have to get it really calculated in advance. That's why there's a lot, like Rafael Trujillo told me about some 2-1-2 stuff where Tim Miller was doing some, I don't remember exactly what it was, but he would do like two, I don't remember the arpeggio, but it's like one note and then two and then one note and then two, or you know, that kind of stuff. And it's like,
yeah, Greg Howe kind of does that too.
Right. Yeah. It gets pretty tricky. I really like 2 and 3. I find it very difficult. I've been practicing it for many years and I still suck at it.
Oh, because the economy in there.
You mix alternate with economy every single string.
Yeah.
Alternate economy. And you really need to do... That's why I tend to just do it. Which also sounds fine. It's just not quite the thing that I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's why I like kind of just lean more on legato for a lot of runs. This is because it's just easier to get by, and I think it achieves the same kind of idea.
Well, the thing is, too, live, generally you can't really tell the difference. If you have a strong left hand and you're playing live, and you have, I mean, you and I both play in bands that have, you know, music that's considered technically challenging. The right hand endurance is a big factor. You know,
I think it's everything is the right hand.
Dude,
in
it's
this music.
so, yeah, you can gas yourself out so quickly. And so if you can replace a couple of picked sections with one or two legato things or hammer-ons or whatever, just to help you get through the part, I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I like playing like riffs like Lexicontagion. Oops. It's like it's 280, cool. But it's like it's really actually not hard to play just because of the like the combination of pick, slant, and sweeping. I have to face my. So it's like combining like
that's so cool.
Like pick slant, like going upward pick slant, like on those descending runs, but also like kind of incorporating like pull offs so that way you don't burn out and everything's just kind of flowing. So you're not like burning out on playing something at 280 BPM. Like Chris actually plays, he alternate picks that whole riff. I'm like, dog,
he doesn't.
Like, how do you do that?
No, dude.
But he's sick, so he just figures it out. So it's just like kind of just deciding what do I need to actually pick and what can I like pull off. It'll sound exactly the same, but I won't gas out, you know.
What's the descending run there? What is that?
It's just like it's just a diminished arpeggio.
So okay, so how are you picking that?
So I went downstroke, upstroke. Well, that's the slow way.
You're doing double upstroke?
Yeah, so I'm jumping. But when I play the whole sequence, I actually pull off. So
yeah,
and actually pull off on that last minor third, so I can start on a downstroke.
And you're on you're in drop tuning.
Drop C tuning, yes. So C, G, C, F, A, D.
So what's the?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Here, hold on. I just got to get to a rhythm channel. That gives me a bit of hope because I just wrote a riff that's really similar to that just the other day. It's all in 5/8, but it's got double upstrokes in there, and it is yeah, I mean, I was like sitting for 20 minutes. I was like, okay, I think I can get it. But it's very similar. Like it's got
Like
all
1, 2,
the
3, 4, 1, 2,
upstrokes,
3, 4.
you know? Yeah.
It's that jump.
What's that?
It's that jump when you get to that first descending pattern.
Yeah.
It's and then you got to jump back down to that high C.
You're starting on the downstroke. I mean, I would probably do a downstroke there. I actually don't mind doing down, up, 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 down, up, up, down. I actually don't mind. I don't mind that. Oh. Yeah, I still don't mind it even if are you doing 4?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I actually don't mind doing it with a downstroke there. Downstroke of that. No. I don't mind that. I thought I would, but I actually don't mind it. But that would be some kind of shitty inside picking, which is not really my strong suit, but I've done it. But
yeah, it's like when you're paying like at 280 or plus, you know, and it's like you got to make a decision, like, okay, like how can I get around this and hit the note fine, but have enough like endurance to start the next sequence.
Do you find it frustrating to play riffs at home in isolation and nail them and then go on stage? And maybe you're not like this, but go on stage and then seemingly not be able to play them because in context you have 20 minutes music before it, 10 minutes music after it. You're gassed out. You're kind of like emotionally in a different spot. You're thinking about where you parked the van or what you're distracted. Your endurance is shot or whatever. Do you find that frustrating, or do you have that? When you go on stage, is everything like, like what is it like for you when you hit a really difficult part in your set? Do you compare it to yourself at home?
No, I think I try to practice at home, like before a tour. I try to make it as much as a live setting as I can because they're two different performances. Like when you get on stage, like you said, there's so many different variables at play. Like with obviously playing in front of people, like you're tired because you just had to load all your shit on stage and set it up, and now you have to play it, and it's like not easy music. So for me, like I learned how to like kind of talk myself through parts, like just through going to school and like learning like because I went to school for composition, and one of the requirements is where you got to actually like learn like repertoire on a classical guitar and play it in a jury, and their whole point is like to judge you, and it's fucking scary as shit. So like I like learned like, okay, remember this part, like you fucked up really bad. So like remember like to like try to adjust it here on like try to adjust your picking here to make sure you like execute that sequence properly this time so you don't fumble on the next part. So it's just like kind of having like mental notes in play to kind of help you like walk yourself through like having like this inner monologue of like, okay, like you can if you suffer on one of these parts, like try not to suffer at least on this part, because you fumbled more on this part. So it's just kind of like trying to like hype yourself up and like just being more apparent or being more aware rather of like what you're doing. Instead of just kind of going into autopilot, you know what I mean?
I got 2 questions. Okay, so the first one is, can you show me a part that you find very difficult live? And my second question would be, what do you do when you fuck up something very difficult? Let's say if you show me something that you find difficult live, if you fuck it up, how do you recover from that? I've got my own ways, but like, how do you mentally recover from that?
Oh, like emotionally?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, well, yeah, I just like say fuck and then I'll just keep going.
So you don't really hold on to it, or you like?
I do, but then I think after a certain amount of shows, if I haven't figured it out, which I usually try to figure it out, like I'll sit in the van and just kind of hammer it out. If I like miss like I think the worst part is missing something that you're good at, like you nail every time. Yeah, that's even worse because it's like, fuck, dude, like how would I mess that up? Especially like when it's like a lead, you know, and it's like a really emotional, like kind of like exposed. Like,
no. The worst thing to mess up is a pinch harmonic by yourself.
Oh,
a pinch harmonic by yourself. If you don't hit it, it's like, oof. Like every single person in the venue heard that. Like you can imagine a scenario where you're playing a difficult lead section and you can play it directly in front of somebody's face and you blow it so hard and somebody goes up like, wow, you nailed that. And you go like, what? Wow, you really can't, nobody can hear anything live. That's pretty crazy. You can imagine that scenario, but doing a very solid gap in your song with a pinch harmonic in the middle of that gap, just you, and you fuck it up. It's about
like a
as naked
shreds
as you
video.
get, dude.
Yeah, it's a shreds video, like the pinch harmonics. Yeah, it's like in algorithmic. Like there's a really interesting like pinch harmonic, and I've definitely missed it, and it's just like it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's just like it sounds like a shreds video. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a weird.
Oh yeah, that
it's
one.
like
Yeah.
so it's like you got to like start a bend before the note even happens. So it's like you can get funky. So yeah, I fucked that up quite a bit.
Yeah. I love I love pinch harmonic stuff. I want to get back to a difficult section, by the way. I want to hear something. Not that
Okay.
I'm not gonna make you do anything, but
You're gonna make me do it.
But what's your pinch harmonic technique, and how do you get them, and what do you like about them?
Pinch harmonic technique is just, I think it's pretty basic. It's just like you're using the flesh of your thumb.
Yeah.
Like I think you got to adjust your pick slant a little more to compensate.
Right.
So you got to see it's fucked up right there.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I wish I had a cool camera like you so I could show you, but yeah, like that. So it's like using, I think I actually kind of take my thumb closer to the tip, and then I adjust my wrist a little more to compensate for the pick slant. So I can just kind of hit flesh immediately almost.
Flesh. It's interesting. You do a little bit different than I do. So if I was to do, I actually lean back.
Oh, so you're using like, interesting. You're like using like your thumb tip almost.
Yeah, I have
Right?
a large amount of open
Yeah.
space there to get a pinch harmonic.
Okay.
So I'll play like this, and then I'll lean back to get them.
That's interesting. Maybe
It's
I
a
should
little bit
fuck with
different
that.
because you're actually changing the shape of your thumb as you do it.
Yeah, I'm like kind of tensing up a little bit.
Can you point to the exact spot in your thumb that you get the pinch harmonic?
It's like right here, like in between the.
It's above the
pick.
knuckle.
It's like right here.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, totally different from what I get. Yep.
And it's not like my pinch harmonic skill is not like 100%, but like it's enough to get by.
I would say you have pretty good pinch harmonic technique. I would say, but if I had to point where mine, it would be right there.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah,
I've
it's right
never
there.
seen that.
Yeah.
But you're like, you guys do a lot of pinch harmonics, so like
We
you've
do a
kind
lot.
of developed a technique to like make
Well,
sure you hit like 95% of it, right?
Okay. Well, let's not start throwing that out. But if I was to do,
You're like back up. You're like backing off the string a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
You're like kind of cocking your wrist a little more too. It looks like.
yeah.
What's your sweet spot? Like in like if you use like your two humbuckers as like your spectrum of where to hit a pinch harmonic, where are you hitting on the in between the humbuckers?
I would say right there,
Oh, like close to the bridge.
really close to the bridge. Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Mine's like in the center almost.
Well, I play a longer scale length than you,
I guess that makes
so
sense.
that might change it.
Mine's
That might change it
25.5.
20. Yeah, I'm playing 27. So but I mean, you're doing it here, where
Like more in the middle, yeah. Like
yeah.
so,
I
I'm
mean,
like I'm like kind of like right here, more towards the bridge, but more in the center.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hey, it sounds awesome. You got that sort of like, Toby had a great idea years ago, and anybody watching this, please don't steal this idea. But
I'm gonna steal it.
slam bands sometimes have, like slam death metal bands sometimes have pinch harmonics in their music that aren't good. I don't like the sound of them. I don't like the sound of those pinch harmonics. And it's not any specific band, but I'm like, oof, that pinch harmonic, no good. It's kind of dirty. It's got some whatever. So we were thinking about doing a pinch harmonic pack where you do a pinch harmonic on every single fret, on every string, in every style. And so you could just drop it in, just a DI pack.
Oh, that's great.
You know what I mean? And it's like, well, that's kind of sick because it is a tough thing to get. And I was talking to Mark last lesson about this. The thing that I stole from Infinite Annihilator was...
Oh, like a double pinch harmonic. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember even the fret that it's on. I got to revisit that song. But the stuff like that. And he was telling me about, I didn't try this yet, but He does like depression bends, but he plays with like a way.
Depression bends?
Yeah, he starts with a pinch harmonic and then bends down, like releases the bend. But he plays
so
in
it's like a whammy almost.
He plays in G on a 6 string. So it's like his low
weird.
string is G. So it's like you can bend it like crazy and you get like lots of room. I play with tighter strings. I just can't. I don't have the room for it. But yeah, I love stuff like that. So that pinch harmonic that you were talking about though, dun, 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 boo, what's the phrasing that you like about that? Because it's kind of unique sounding.
This is almost like it's like a half bend, and then it turns into it's not even a half step bend. It's like a quarter step bend, and then it turns into a half step bend, and then it resolves to the root, which is so. Can't even hit it. So it's almost like a Marty Friedman thing where it's just detached, like the note is detached, like the bend is just kind of half started, and then it resolves just a hair, and then it comes down to a full half step bend, and then it comes back to the, I guess, root, and then it hits the open D or open C.
Yeah.
So it's like a really interesting way of doing it. It's like not 100% all the time, but it's enough to like get the point across where it's like a funky bend.
I noticed when you were doing this something I'm not nailing, but that arpeggio, do you do any arpeggios that are like that you can kind of plug into a riff? So like I like these. I mean, I think everybody likes these. Like I have a 5-note shape and I can plug those into kind of wherever I want. And the same thing with I like those a lot too. 5-note shape. Do you have anything like that? Because I mean, drop tuning is great for that. It allows you to kind of do the same kind of shape. Do you have shapes like that you kind of plug them in where you're like, I know this one sounds good, so I'll put that in here?
Yeah, it's like one of the motifs in Lux Contagion is that shape, and just that descending pattern. But also like there's like an exercise I kind of developed. It's like doing that. And it's just kind of taking that same like right hand movement and then just kind of modulating the entire phrase. So. So it's just like just taking that and it just kind of helps you understand like how to move your right hand around a little more. And I think like arpeggiation and like a rhythmic context is kind of underused a little bit in metal, at least to some degree. So a lot of arpeggiation is obviously in lead playing, but it's like if you use it as in a sequence, it's in like a metal context. I think it's pretty interesting. So like that's what Lux Contagion is really kind of highlighting is the use of like arpeggiation in the bass as opposed to like a lead playing thing. So like there's like a lot of instances where we'll use this as like a that same kind of pattern. We'll use that a lot and as like a way to like modulate a key and like also like kind of move to a different riff. So that's like one of the riffs. So it's like almost like a transitional thing. And that's like kind of what is happening throughout the song is using that shape to transition from riff to riff. So so it's like using that same like riff to transition to the next part. So it's kind of, and especially because it's diminished, it's easier to it's easier to transition because of the scale.
Yeah.
So just using that same shape throughout that song is like kind of just what anchors like the end of a riff.
So what shapes do you have diminish as your kind of tool to move from one section to another? Do you have any other tools like that? Any other
like in my playing?
Yeah, I mean like because we use augmented stuff, we use diminished stuff all the time. Like do you have anything else like that? Like you ever use dominant chords to move back and forth from one part to another? Do you use like Like if you were to have two riffs and they're in different keys, what are some of the first things that come to mind when it comes to trying to get between those two riffs?
Yeah, I think just augmented and diminished like arpeggios is the easiest way to transition to a different key in any context and model. But I mean that is what is this? That's like that's augmented, isn't it? So I'm trying to think of any other context where we actually really shift keys.
I do love those sounds, dude. What was the? It sounds suspended.
Feels like pentatonic.
Yeah, what is that? It sounds suspended or pentatonic sounds like one.
It's like a sequence of major thirds. Could be.
There we go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sus. Hella sus. That is actually another thing I use a lot too. Is like using that sus to the 4/3 sus or sus 4 and then resolving to the third.
Dude, 4/3 suspension, so sick.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of shit that we use in Zenith that does that.
I've got one like that. It does. Let's see. I'll play this with a fucking actual tone.
There it is.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's
dude.
a good one.
It's so classical. It's like I don't know. It's like we've heard it so many times just as like people that listen to music. You've heard it so many times that it's like your ear is
ingrained.
It just draws to the suspension resolve. It just like it pulls you there, which there's like nuanced ways and sneaky ways to do that. Sometimes it's just best to have an obvious way because it's so satisfying to hear that sus chord resolve down.
Yeah, it's just like kind of ingrained in your brain as like a Western music listener.
Yeah.
Like there's some instances where we play a lot on that, like this thing. Right here. It's like it walks the root or the bass.
What?
And then
okay,
it can
so the
resolve.
bass goes up.
So it's and then now this is the root.
I believe.
So it's really fun.
I believe that my wife would call that a Phrygian cadence.
Yeah, she's probably right.
I think that's what she would call it. Now, I'm removing myself from saying that. I'm not saying that. I think that's what she would say. If I'm wrong, I'm not technically wrong. She's wrong. So I'm pushing all the blame on her if she's wrong. So she said that about that riff. She's never heard it, but I'm sure she has. But actually, my wife heard Zenith Passage before she heard Archbar.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a fan of you guys before that.
I remember. I think I met. Did I meet her the same time I met you in Vancouver
probably.
or something?
Yeah.
I think she was out in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I think when we played you guys up there. It was like a long time ago.
Yeah, I heard about your band from just a dude that was in Edmonton, and we were playing a show in Edmonton or something like that. I can't remember when, 2011 maybe, and maybe 2010. We went there and we met one dude, and he's like, I'm gonna give you a ride back to whatever, and he got in our van. We drove to his place. We stayed over at his place, and he's like, "Oh, I got this band for you guys to check out or whatever." And he played your first album, and we were all like, "What the fuck is? How we never heard this?" And that was before I met you, obviously.
Yeah, it's sick.
So yeah, that was it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, like 2012 or something like that.
2012, 2011, something like that. I don't know when did the first album come out.
We first put out singles in 2011,
Okay.
and then 2012 is when the full EP came, like January 2012.
There you go. Yeah, it was probably right after it came out.
It's crazy too, because like we always got compared to Archspire, and at the time I didn't know, because I think All Shall Align came out, when did that come out? Like 2011, right?
Well, we released it in 2010, but we released like a full length version, more or less, in 2011. Yeah, so it was kind of like floating around, but it was only 5 songs. And then it came out with we put out 2 more songs on the album, and then we released a full length.
Yeah, so I was putting out singles, and then like everyone's like, "Oh, this sounds like Archspire." I'm like, "What the fuck is Archspire?" So like I finally look up Archspire. I'm like, "Oh, this is sick as shit." Like, what the hell?
Isn't that weird that, yeah, I mean, we both have like very similar influences, but the bands sound very different, but we didn't know each other and we came out around the same time. You know,
Yeah, it's
kinda,
crazy.
You know, it's pretty cool. I got a couple more questions. I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
I'm so busy.
Real quick, we were talking a lot about picking technique. The angle of your pick during heavy sections is like seems very intentional. So do you have like a pick scrape preference when it comes to like playing rhythm stuff? And like, do you also do that for leads? Because like I know whenever you're, I can tell you do a lot of front. Not and so when we talk about pick slanting, we're talking about pick slanting like this, supination, pronation of the wrist. But this way, this is a different type of. This is like pick scraping, like whatever technique for pick scraping. Like what do you do? Is it very intentional or what's up?
Well, yeah, I think since we're tiptoeing around a lot, playing this fast music, it's like when you really want to like make a part count. You like want to play like you're upset, you know, like you're pissed off. You want to play with some like conviction. So like I really kind of dig in with my wrist more,
Right?
Because I don't really use my wrist too often. I'm more like kind of like fidgety with my fingers, kind of just tiptoeing around a lot. So it's like on that part, like when you're hitting, you really want to like fucking emphasize that part. So I dig in a lot more. I'll use my wrist a lot more.
Yeah.
I'll play like, yeah, obviously with more conviction, and then I'll go back to tiptoeing around. Because you just want to make it count where it needs to count.
Yeah.
You don't want to burn out either.
Dynamics. You want to get this extra. Yeah, right.
So it's
a
like
little bit more compression with that low picked notes.
Exactly. Yeah. So like in terms of like my technique, I'm really laying into it with my wrist, and my pick slant it's like kind of curving this way.
Yeah.
And I'm like my thumb is just kind of locked like that during that part, because a lot of the time I'm like doing this to like picking, navigate a lot of stuff, like picky guys, the little scoopers.
Little scoopers.
Yeah, I call them scoopers.
Oh, you do? Oh, nice. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's my scoopers.
Oh, okay.
So you scoop around, and then like when you really want to, you know, piss someone off, you just dig into that sucker. No scoops allowed.
No scoops.
Yeah.
You know what I love about this is that I have a buddy who's transcribing all these videos, and I know that the riff that you just played is going to give him a lot of grief because he's
I got tabs for that.
No.
Okay. No, I don't have tabs.
No. I want him to suffer. Okay, we got a question from somebody on YouTube here, real quick. So it's from Drone Corp. So Justin is the name of one of my songs, yes, and that's his username, and that's very appreciated. And thank you so much for being a member of the
Justin channel. Is the name of his song?
No, Drone Corp is the name of Justin.
Okay.
So Justin's name is Drone Corp is what I was saying. Or no, you're Justin. Wait, who are you?
A drone
Corp.
Man.
Okay, Justin is. So this is what he says. These are not my words. Justin is prolific with Guitar Pro and apparently prefers to write by tabbing first. I'd love to hear about his creative process using Guitar Pro and how you avoid the typical pitfalls of stuff sounding too Guitar Pro E, and how he sees this evolving for the Zenith Passage.
Yeah, I'm prolific. That's right. So that's very true.
I can see you searching around for another icon.
I was nothing worked.
You're like crickets, trombones. What
what were we talking about? Oh yeah, I'm prolific. So very good.
Very
so
good.
What I do.
That's not what prolific means, but okay, yeah.
I'm very.
You can be really bad and prolific. I think.
Who's bad and prolific?
I don't know. I mean, I think I would say
Alien Fingers.
I would say Buckethead.
Oh, yeah, he's got nasty finger tone.
No, I'd say that Buckethead is prolific in terms of pure quantity of music.
Oh yeah, he puts out like a song a day or something. Right?
But I mean, it's not. It's not.
You know who's really prolific is that Alien Fingers guy.
Who's that?
Oh man, he's the guy who just fucking rips all the time.
Oh, okay.
Now you gotta input a clip of that guy.
Okay. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, so you'll put that in. Alien Fingers. So we'll say that and you'll cut to that.
I'll cut to my reaction. Whoa!
Yeah, he's so good. Prolific. Anyway, we talk tabs.
Your camera died.
Oh, great. We don't need it, do we?
No, I don't think we need it. No. It's not a visual medium.
It's very prolific of me to do that. Okay, so tabbing. So yeah, I start tabbing. I used to tab out everything in Guitar Pro for Zenith.
Okay.
And I was running into problems where, it was sounding too Guitar Pro-y, and it was sounding like, obviously it helped me grow as a player.
Yeah.
Because you have to play that now. But
what do you mean? You like put in something difficult and then you got to learn it, basically?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's been instances even in our new material where it's like we sometimes didn't even pick up a guitar, or like I wouldn't even pick up a guitar and I would just tab it out like what I heard and then figure out the fingerings and everything later, which turns out to be a fucking nightmare. Like Deletion Cold is one of those. Like Deletion Cold is a song where that's the song that like Chris and I just tabbed out in Guitar Pro without touching a guitar.
Wow.
And then it's like, okay, now how do we play this? And like that was something that I tried to avoid because it's like, okay, I don't want to have to actually try to learn this. But I think the goal was to never play Deletion Cult, and now it's become like a thing that people like, so we have to play it.
Yes.
And it's actually not that hard now that we like get through it. But yeah, like that's an instance where it's a Guitar Pro song, and then like most of the time now I'm just writing in my DAW, and then if there's a part that I'm like fiddling with and I can't figure out, like I'm spending too much time trying to like figure out the riff. My thing is, okay, I need to hurry up and get in Guitar Pro and just like hear it and input it, because it's quicker for me to figure out the riff in Guitar Pro as opposed to just figuring out everything that I need to do. And then by the time you're doing that, you've kind of lost the inspiration for the riff.
Right.
So I'll jump into Guitar Pro to try to throw up this riff before I lose it. You know what I mean?
When you say lose it, you mean you have a riff in your head and you know exactly how it should sound.
Like in a sense, like I need to navigate how to go about this riff. I have a rough idea in my head of how it should go, and I'm trying to figure out my fingers, and I really can't do it as fast as I could in Guitar Pro.
Right.
So I'll do it in Guitar Pro before I lose it.
So have you always heard riffs in your head like that?
I mean, not like a full riff, but like if I'm like fiddling around on guitar and like, oh, what if I did this? And then like, okay, then that'll like, you just keep following the thread, and then you kind of end up with this riff. Like the Deletion Cult was mostly in my head. It was like a balance between Chris and I writing a riff, and then I would write a riff based on his riff, and just something I heard in my head. And then like same with Div Inertia 2, like that riff was just completely a Guitar Pro riff. It's like I was like, okay, I have an idea of what I want to do, but I need to like really make it interesting, so I'm going to bring in Guitar Pro and just hammer it out real quick before I lose it.
Right. Oh, that's cool. And does it I guess it allows you some freedom to really like, because I've experimented a little bit with that recently, and I've actually got a different thing too that I've been doing. I started out doing some Guitar Pro while I'm tabbing. Sorry, not while I'm tabbing, while I'm writing. So I have it open. And then I started being like, okay, what if I just try without a guitar and I'll just try to create a melody or whatever. And that's worked a little bit. It helps me get unstuck. It's all about like accumulating the most amount of tools to help you get unstuck when you're stuck in a part or whatever. I find the most effective thing is to focus on a different part of it. So you go, I have a lead. I only have 8 notes. Okay, well, I'll come up with a rhythm. Okay. All right, we're working on a rhythm. It got me a little bit closer, but okay, let's work on the bass. Okay, we'll work on the bass. Okay, now the bass helped me get the lead a little bit closer. Let's add drums, figure out where the syncopation. So at that point, you're sort of pushing ahead, but they all kind of like, you're not lead, then rhythm, then drums. That makes no sense. At least it doesn't always. Sometimes it does make sense, but when you do get stuck, which is like, I mean, it's easy to write music when it's easy to write music. It's great. Yeah. When it comes out easy, fucking sweet. But it's like 90% of the time, that's not how it is. And so you have to have good tools on how to get through that, how to get yourself through that, and how your brain, your specific brain, what things to basically get you out of that rut. And then another thing that I've recently started doing is using ChatGPT. So I'll be like,
what?
Man, I have like a chord progression, but I don't know how to end it. I want to come up with a cool, interesting way to end this chord progression to loop back to the one. So I use a ChatGPT program called Bach Reborn, and I'll type in my chord progression, I'll type in my feel, I'll type in what I want to do, the time signature or whatever, and it'll give me like 5 different options of what chords
That's
to play.
sick as hell.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I didn't know they had that.
Yeah, it's like not always effective. Sometimes it'll give me an idea and I'll be like, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. But at least it gets me outside of the things that I was trying before, which is the most important thing. And whether or not it's given me exact ideas that I've used verbatim, I don't think it has yet. But it has gotten me through ruts where I get stuck on something. So it is kind of cool.
Yeah, it like definitely changes your way of thinking like outside the box because it's offering you things you don't really use.
Yeah.
I haven't done like AI like that, but I've used like if I like have a chord in mind and I want to like know, okay, I have the root, but how do I like voice it? I'll go and like go to like a theory website and just kind of input like a chord and then put a root in and be, okay, like how many chords can I make from like this third and then this root, and then try to understand like what works in the context of the chord before it. So I use that a lot.
ChatGPT is kind of like a supercharged version of that.
That's sick.
Because you don't you don't really need to think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And you probably move faster that way too, because you're not like caught up.
It gives you 3 examples of things that you could try, and you go, oh, okay. Or like, sometimes I'll be like, here's all my notes. What scale? What mode could I play over top of this that it would be really interesting? And if you go to one of those theory websites, sometimes you put in the wrong note, then you're like, actually, this doesn't make sense. Actually, this chord is not right. Actually, these notes are, one of the pitches is not right. And then you hit brick wall after brick wall after brick wall, and you're like, this is kind of frustrating. But with Bach Reborn, I'm like, here's my chord, here's the notes, and then I don't get stuck as easily. That's
interesting.
Yeah.
So it's called Bach Reborn?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check that out. Because I've
kind of cool.
Definitely... I've been in that situation where you're okay, like I have this chord and I need to play. How many modes can I play over this chord that leads to this chord? Yeah. Like how do I get there?
Yeah.
And like I'm not like a theory whiz in any way, but like some people are and they can just figure it out. But I'm like trying to understand how do I sound cool in this chord and then get to this chord without having to use the same mode, So it's like trial and error like a bunch to the point where you get, like you said, burnt out and you kind of lost the spark at that point.
Yeah, keeping the spark going. It's I also watch a lot of like, I have in the past, I haven't recently, but I watch a lot of music composition courses on YouTube where they'll give you a small bit of information that you're like, oh, that's helpful. I'll put that away. I'll kind of remember for next time. And one of them was like, don't forget about the spark that you initially had for an idea or of composition. So if you have a thing and you like 3 notes of it, and see it through. Who cares if it sucks? Because at some point you liked it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so just see it through, and then once you're done, then you can look back and be like, okay, revise. And so I'm trying to do that more lately as well.
Instead of just like throwing away, like if you get like upset or you're like, fuck this sucks. Like, I try to do that just in general, like, especially when I'm like really in the mode of songwriting, I'll just write anything, and then like I don't have any intention of ever using it, but I need to like get it out of me real quick. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's like riding a bike. Like, like the more you do it, the more you exercise that creative like muscle or whatever, you're going to be more likely to use it better. So yeah, like finishing a riff, like it doesn't matter ever if you use it. Yeah. Just get it out of your system and then come back, and then you'll find like a different approach to it eventually. Yeah.
So what do you got going on? You guys got a tour coming up, right?
Yeah, we have a Chaos and Carnage in May, and then we have another tour in September, October that's unannounced.
Oh,
but
shit.
we're playing New England Metal Fest. Which is
no
sick.
way! Oh yeah, the poster looks nuts for that show.
Yeah, so many bands.
We played it one year, and that was the year that we wanted to use our own drum set, and they said no, and we said, well, we wanted, and we bugged them about it, and they said, okay, fine, but then we ran into some miscommunication, and we brought our drum set up on stage. We had a short set. I think it was a 20-minute set or 25 minutes. It was short. And there was a miscommunication, and they thought that we were going to be hooking up the mics for the kit, but then we didn't, and our sound guy was at the booth, and we just stood on stage waiting for about 25 minutes, and nothing happened.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, and then we played 2 songs, I think, and we just ate shit.
Oh, that's rough.
Shit so hard.
It's a hard, like, festivals are hard, man. Like, there's so many different moving parts, and there's so many bands and so many people that it's just hard to keep up with everything. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I find that we had a really great experience with the European festival circuit. We just did one, and we've done a few. Done Hellfest, and we've done. Last year we did 8 or something like that. 8 festivals, I think. We had a great experience doing that. It's just one of the things is that just the space that they had at the Palladium was just so limited for New England Metal and Hardcore Fest. But you're playing outside this year, so
yeah, I saw they're putting it outside.
Yeah.
So I would imagine it's in that parking lot, right?
I think so. Yeah, so that'll be
gonna be
That'll be
crazy.
great. Okay, so you have Chaos and Carnage in May, another tour unannounced. What else is going? Anything else you want to promote?
We have a tab book.
Oh, great.
All those tabs through the good people at Sheet Happens. We just put out a complete guitar transcription of Data Elysium, our latest record. You can get it right now on Sheet Happens, their new website.
SheetHappensPublishing.com. Use code REDEEM for 15% off, I believe.
Oh, wow. Actually, you can use Justin McKinney 20% off.
Oh,
I'm just
shit.
kidding.
No way.
No. I'm just kidding. Use Dean's. Yeah, use Dean's.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. You're going to click on something now. You're hunting. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care.